What's all this business about Goldbach levels?
I'm going to provide you with the ultimate hack for your ICT trading, which will simplify and automate your trading decisions. This is all based on Goldbach, and I'm going to be providing you with a comprehensive guide on how to use the new Goldbach indicator. So this is the indicator. AMD Power Free Goldbach levels by this guy. I've left links to his Twitter, etc. in the description to this video, so give him a follow. Fantastic developer, he's built a bunch of indicators. So Goldbach essentially tells you how those responsible for the algorithm define the dealing ranges, so where they will form, the high, the low, the equilibrium, and also the price discount arrays within them. So it will tell you where they're supposed to form. The key is to know the size of the dealing range and when time aligns for algorithm 1 or algorithm 2 or the other algorithms that you may know of to play out. Let's configure it. For EURUSD on the 4-hour time frame, you probably want to stick to the 243 power of 3. So if we switch this on, you'll see that this impulse leg was exactly a Goldbach dealing range using the 243 on the 4-hour time frame. I've simplified the view of the indicator so we can build it up together. If you are brand new to Goldbach and you want a comprehensive overview of it, click the video in the top right. So the levels I've shown you for the Goldbach range using the 243 power of 3 say the low the dealing range will form here, the high will form here, and the equilibrium will form here, okay, based off of the 4-hour time frame. And this is what we had. So let's mark out this dealing range. This is the dealing range. So what it essentially does is, using the current price and the Goldbach mathematics, it will tell you where the low the dealing range is, where the high is, and where the equilibrium is. So going to the indicator, you can also see where the price discount arrays will form. So I showed only the main levels. So if we uncheck that, we will see all the price discount arrays. There we go. There's your order block. We had a massive fair value gap all the way down. And if we go down to a lower time frame, you'll be able to see the price discount arrays more clearly. So there is your order block, your fair value gap. Maybe half an hour is better. Order block, fair value gap. So the order block was in the order block partition. The fair value gap was in the fair value partition, and so forth. The indicator has a very handy function where it will show you where the correct fair value gaps are forming. So if we check this box here, it marks the fair value gaps for you. There we go. So this means there's a fair value gap which formed in the fair value gap partition. Now, in this case, there was no algo 1 or algo 2 running. This may have been a violent reaction off of news, but even news will only run the Goldbach dealing ranges. Okay. Now, what happens when price leaves this dealing range and goes higher or lower? When price leaves the dealing range, the size of the dealing range stays the same. However, it will stack on top of each other. So if price were higher, this would be the dealing range. And if the spot price was lower, this would be the dealing range. So if you want to understand where the lower and the higher dealing ranges, all you have to do is you don't have to wait for price to go down there to show you. You can get an advanced preview. So either you can ask the indicator to show you the skeleton of the high and the low. See, this is this dealing range shifted higher. So high, equilibrium, low, high, equilibrium, low. Or you can manually shift it. So if price is anywhere within this zone, this would be the high, and this would be the low. Similarly, if you want to see the lower dealing range, you can shift it down. Let's have a look at price action at these levels. So if we go back to the 4-hour time frame, which is generally optimal for the 243 power of 3, you'll see that price was respecting this dealing range. So we had price action within this dealing range. Then we had price action within the current dealing range. And then we work the dealing range higher. So now you can understand how the dealing ranges stack on top of each other. Now, when it comes to the power of 3 numbers, you have to understand how they form. Okay, so the smallest power of 3 dealing range is 3 pips high, 9, 27, 81, and so forth. These are the power of 3 numbers. This is 1 to the power of 3, 2 to the power of 3, 3 to the power of 3, 4 to the power of 3, and so forth. Now, if you want to understand where this current dealing range is on the higher time frame power of 3 dealing range, which would be the 729, all you have to do is change the indicator to the 729. So let's just increase the time frame first, something like a daily. Okay, so again, this is the current dealing range we're in. Now, is this a premium or is this a discount of the higher time frame dealing range? Let's have a look. Let's mark this here to remind us where we are. So if we now move to the 729, you will see that we are in the premium of the larger dealing range. Okay, this is the high, this is equilibrium, and this is the low. If you want to understand why we are in the premium, have a look at this video here, where I explained where Euro USD is on the higher time frame when we look at the 2022 yearly dealing range. So you will see we had a run into the low of the dealing range, then we ran the high. Now zooming into this, you can see we had an algo 2 play out. Algo 2 says price will move from the low to the breaker down to the fair value gap, and it will terminate at the high of the dealing range. You can see here that we have a fair value gap in the fair value gap partition, and the order block is in the order block partition. If you would like to learn more about Algo 1, click the link in the top right-hand corner. If you would like to learn more about Goldbach, there's a link to Hoppy's book in the description to this video. And if you would like to learn my time and price golden bullet strategy, which I use for Forex, crypto, index futures, gold, silver, copper, and oil, there's a link to my mentorship below.